All right. Hi, everyone. One sec. Here we go. Hello, hello, hello. Voice, voice, voice. Good. Hi. Good to see everybody. How's it going? Sweet. I haven't seen you in a while, some of you. Okay. Well, since you're here, wow, we did a lot of stuff. I mean, you can't really see it from where you are. It's all very small. But my goodness, think about all the stuff you've digested in the class so far. So at this point, we're kind of in the phase out period of the class. We're going to talk a little bit today about big picture stuff, and there's really not a lot of extra lecture content. In fact, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more lectures of things that might appear on a final. Then I got a couple of fun side projecty or kind of side topics that could be fun. And then you just have one project to work on. So at this point, we're in the home stretch. I tend to front load 61B as opposed to backload it. So hopefully that helps you. Though for those of you who are still working on project 2B, for example, I guess you still have a fair amount of work, but hopefully you will be done soon. There is one homework at the very end that's to help you prep for the final, but think of this as just me forcing you to study for the exam. So anyway, great, good. I'll reflect again at the very end of the class, but wow, we did a lot of stuff. So I hope you feel like I bent your brain in good, useful ways. Okay, so I want to talk today, this is our third software engineering lecture, and unlike the last two, where we talked about how and efficiently write software, we're now going to talk about the interaction between the universe and software, like why you're bothering to be here, what impact you'll have on the universe, and how the universe drives software development. So I'm going to give you an example. So I was born in 1981, so I'm 41 years old, by the way, and thank you. Anyone else here 41? No, but you're honorary 41. Don't be honorary 41. It's not a good thing. I'm like infinitely jealous of those of you who are in your 20s. That's so cool. Anyway, because like you get all this extra like time to do cool things, like take a year off and go surfing or whatever. Like you do that for 5 years, you still have more like free years than me. It's kind of not safe or like not fair, but it's okay. The 80s was cool. I was there, so I got that going for me. And so I first got exposed to computing actually at a very young age because my dad bought a computer called a Commodore 64 when I was 5. And it was really fun. Like that's how I became a computer nerd kid for a while until one day I put a staple inside the computer to see what would happen. What happened was it stopped working for 4 years. And I didn't know, I forgot that I did it. And then my dad got it fixed. He's like, oh, there was a staple in there. And I had this memory from when I was like, 6. Then at age 10, like, oh yeah, I did that. Oops. Anyway, so I was a very early person on the internet. I spent a lot of my teen years doing like, I would say victimless computer crimes. Like we would get on AOL for free because AOL America Online was one of the earliest ways to get on the internet. And if you were crafty and a teenager, you could get on it for free. And so I was there at the very dawn of the internet back when it was first something you could do at your house. Like it's older than that, but like from almost the first couple of years, I was there when I was like 13 or 14. And so this, I have one more anecdote, which was in my freshman year of high school in 1995. If the teacher would ask like, who here has a computer? There'd be like maybe, a smattering of hands. But by 1999, my English teacher was giving us URLs we might want to check out. So that transition was super fast. And so this is a little bit before that. This is 1994. This is a daytime talk show in which some people are discussing the internet and what it is. So this is the vision. These are what grown adults, not that much older than you are thinking on TV, somewhere between me and you in age. Maybe they're my age. I don't know. Talking about the internet. Okay, here we go. Oh, we need subtitles here. Do it again. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Ah, nope, not that thing. I don't want that, whatever that is. With the A and then the ring around it. See, that's what I said. Is it not showing on Zoom? Oh, the transcript. I think that the audio is not showing on Zoom. Okay, one sec. It supposedly is. Sorry, internet. We're gonna try and do it. I made it work for you guys. Okay, so what? Gosh, man, Max. Okay, sorry. So sound, it's worth it. I don't want to abandon our online friends. Okay, sound. Oh, I can only pick one. That's funny. I see. Watch this. So in the sound settings, anybody here like good at Mac? So I basically have two devices for output. One is Zoom audio device, which is virtual, which if I play it like this,
Internet said she thought it was about.
Yeah. Oh.
But I'd never.
Yeah, because it's not mirroring the Zoom audio device to the HDMI. Anybody have a suggestion for making this work? Is there a Zoom setting somewhere? I'm gonna have to pick the real life people on internet. I'm sorry, because they're here, but it's only a 1-minute clip from the internet, so you guys can enjoy the subtitles. Oh, I thought I had it figured out. Hold on one sec. One more thing. Same as speaker. We could do this. Yeah. Okay. Let's try again. Thank you for letting me know. Okay. I like to take care of all my children, even the ones who are on the internet. That's my goal. Okay. Here you go. One more time.
56 pass. I wasn't prepared to translate that as I was doing that little tease.
Oh, that's
that little
right.
mark with the A and then the ring around it.
At.
See, that's what I said. Katie said she thought it was about.
Yeah. Oh.
But I'd never heard
Or
it.
around
I'd never
or
heard it
about.
said. I'd always
That's
seen the
right.
mark, but never heard
Yeah.
it said. And then it sounded stupid when I said it. Violence at NBC.
Yeah, I heard be around
big
or
fight
about.
up in the lunchroom.
This is what, oh, sorry. Oh, I didn't mean to push the button. So what they're talking about is the at symbol in the, geez, go away, Steve. You're going to be next. So impatient from beyond the grave. All right. Okay, one more time. So what they're debating
Back
is
to
this,
56
the,
pass. I
the
wasn't
at sign
prepared.
and email
And then it
address.
sounded
They're like kind of
BC.
flummoxed by it.
Yeah,
What
I
would
heard
be
something
around
big
or
fight
about?
up in the lunchroom the other
See,
week.
there it is. Violence at NBC, GE.com. I mean,
Well, Allison should know.
what
do you
is
say to that,
internet
Allison?
anyway?
What is internet? I love it.
Internet is that
Massive computer
right,
network.
the one that's becoming really big now.
What do you mean? That's big. How does one? What do you write to it like mail?
No, a lot of people use it and communicate. I guess they can communicate with NBC writers and producers. Allison, can you explain what internet is?
No, she can't say anything in 10 seconds or less.
Oh, Allison will be in the studio shortly.
What is
What
it?
does it mean?
It's a giant computer network made up of started from.
Oh, I thought you were going to tell us what this was.
It's like
You've been
a
looking in the
computer
dictionary.
billboard.
It's not in it. It's a computer billboard, but it's
Right.
nationwide, and it's several universities and everything all joined together. And
Right.
it's-
And others can access it.
and-
Right.
And it's getting bigger and bigger all the time.
It
Just
came
great.
in really handy during the quake. A lot of people, that's how they were communicating out to tell family and loved ones they were okay because all the phone lines were down.
I was telling Katie, and I've
But
been
you don't
talking.
need a phone line to operate internet.
No.
It's just like the level of cluelessness and interrupting each other is really fun. Okay, so point being, like I was there for that. The world changed a lot. Many of you were physically present, though not really fully engaged when another thing happened, which was when the damn phones showed up. The phones in many ways are bad, but there's good things about them. Anyway, here's Steve Jobs introducing the iPhone. And I think it's just interesting again to see a level of amazement at something that today is so commonplace. So here's Steve demoing the iPhone.
Corner and push this icon right here, and boom, I'm in the iPod. I want to get home, I push the home button right here, and I'm home. Back in the iPod, I'm back in the iPod. Now here I am, you can see 5 buttons across the bottom, playlists, artists, songs, videos, and more. I'm in artists right now. Well, how do I scroll through my list of artists? How do I do this? I just take my finger and I scroll. That's it.
Right. So, that was a big deal. Like you as kids know how addictive the phones are. I'm sure like my 2-year-old, whenever you were a young kid, you were probably nagging your parents to get the poke at the glowing rectangle because it's fun. It like scratches our lizard brain in this funny way. For that reason, I'm always trying to fight my kids. But like when I get home, my 2-year-old's like, Dada, use phone? I'm like, no, I never let you use the phone. You just occasionally pick it up when I've left it unlocked, and then I have to take it from you. Anyway, thank you, Steve. All right. Okay. So let's talk about kind of more recent developments. Not super recent, this particular one, but anybody here ever played Candy Crush? Okay, so some subset of you. And so the game Candy Crush, this is an old screenshot, but the same idea holds true. That if you have it installed on your phone, the app version on a phone, oh, I'm going to change the settings here so it looks prettier. We don't need sound anymore. So the app version, it will track how many days in a row you've been playing, and every consecutive day you play, you get a reward. The reward is one, you get a progress indicator where you can see the number of days you've been doing this. Other apps do this, of course. You've seen this all over the place. And the other thing is you get a bonus item that makes the game in some way more fun. Like you get 2 hours of sprinkle item or whatever. And if you miss a day, the counter resets. And so why does that exist in Candy Crush? Well, as I've noted, is to encourage you to engage with the app every day, right? So it's a way that the developers, it's a two-way street. You know, you get a little more fun with the app and they get a little more of your attention. Okay. How about Snapchat? All right. Anybody here have any Snap streaks? Is this even a thing the Zoomers are doing? They died? They killed it. Oh, great. Okay. So why did this feature exist? When did it go away? I don't even know. People don't use it. Oh, so that's so funny to encourage engagement. But the Zoomers moved on. Wow. Cool. Did anybody here ever have a Snap streak? So why did you, whoa, that's so many. So why did you all abandon it? Because you went on to Be Real or what? What happened? Why did you give it up? So I want to have some thoughts. Why did you abandon it? Does anybody here still have a Snap streak? Yeah, you still have it. Okay. How? It's fun. Anybody else still have any going? Yeah. Okay. Who's abandoned Snap streaks? Give me your hands up. So for internet, there's like maybe a couple dozen people, and there were 2 who were bold to say they still got them. So why'd you abandon your Snap streaks? Yeah. Did someone say they're cringe? Yeah, why are they cringe? Right. Other thoughts? So actually, of the people that abandon it, how many of you abandon it because you lost a streak and it just wasn't worth it anymore? Okay, other reasons you abandoned it. Yeah. Right. Got it. Right. Like, well, so, you know, obviously TikTok, Be Real. What's kind of replaced this niche for you, if anything? Yeah. Okay. Cool. Actually, I have a question for you. So back in the day, this is a side point. When I was like 27, everybody in the world was on Facebook, and it was pretty reliable that I could imagine that maybe there's a 50% chance that any person I went to high school with would be on Facebook, and I could go see like what they ate for lunch that day or like what their job was or whatever. Well, it's LinkedIn, but if you had like a life event where you were, I don't know, let's say like something that's not a picture, like you had a really bad time on an exam and you wanted to report it out to the world, you would use Instagram. But how do you do it on Instagram? You take a picture of what? Your bad grade or what? An expression. Okay. So you guys have adapted fully to Instagram. Okay. Just make it sure. Because I think it's a really valuable communication medium, being able to like kind of vent about your day. But it's less narrative than like the words version that I had. Is something lost? I don't know. Anyway, yeah. I was going to install Be Real, by the way, for today's lecture, but I didn't get around to it. But yeah, I'll be on there at some point. I'll be the oldest guy on Be Real. Anyway, all right. So let's talk about these features though, like Snap streaks. For those of you who did this in high school, actually, by the way, when I did this lecture in 2019, Snap streaks were still a thing that people in college were doing. But I think that, right, like the whole zeitgeist has moved on. 5 years before that was Yik Yak. Anybody ever use Yik Yak by any chance, right? The old Yik Yak or the one where they tried to bring it back recently? The recent one? Yeah. So it used to be when I first started at Berkeley, after an exam, I could go to Yik Yak and see people anonymously complaining or celebrating or whatever the exam. It was kind of fun. But Yik Yak died a terrible death. So it's gone from what it was. Anyway, so what are some positive impacts for these? Actually, I'm going to actually interrupt because I want to be a little more up to date. What are some other examples of these kind of features out there that you've used that's like something in the app that feels maybe not transparently, but at least like fairly deliberately there, mostly to drive your engagement? Other things. Yeah. Ah, right. How many searches you appeared at? Yeah, that's pretty fun. You can go see who's looking for you. Other things like this. Yeah. Right. Notifications in general. Yep. Yeah.
Like stories, because like when it's flowing there, you feel the urge going.
Right. Yeah. Stories induce you to see them all. Yeah. Game filters? I don't even know what that is. What's a game filter? Help me. I gotta get on the internet again. I've kind of pivoted to the internet is bad a little bit in modern life and try to not be on it like for fun. Because I have so little time to do other things. Anyway, what is a game filter? So is this like kind of scavenger hunty? Sort of thing? Okay, I'll learn beyond Josh Hug's small brain. Okay, yeah, all right. Other things that feel like this. Yeah. Infinite scroll, big one, yeah. It's very fun. There's always more supply. Yeah. Yeah, the recommendation algorithms on YouTube and especially TikTok, right? Yeah. I'm not dipped into TikTok too often, but I know that it's fun, but I have no need for their fun. It is a black hole. It's kind of dark, but also cool. I like that there's really cool, great things on TikTok. I don't want to just be, today's not me being a hater on social media. There's a lot of stuff that I love about it. I love that on YouTube, people make their living like explaining their, doll collection or whatever. Like, I mean, people are able to bring some corner of themselves and make it into something that they can make some money and also just share it with the world. I think that's super awesome. So anyway, other features like this? We'll raise any more?
PlayStation trophies.
I didn't hear that. Say again.
PlayStation trophies.
PlayStation. I'm hearing roofies, but that's not right. What's that second word? Sorry. Selfies. Trophies. Jeez, why am I so bad at this? So that's like achievements. You do some quirky thing in the game. Right. Okay, cool. So what positive impacts does streaks and so forth have on the world, let's say? What are some good things about it? Yeah. Socialize, right? You get to maintain connection with humans. Yeah. Others? Yeah. Yeah, you see other perspectives. What's an example of a perspective you've seen? Yeah. And dogs. Nice. Yeah. Stay up to date, right? With what's going on. Like last night, for example, I wanted to know what's going on with like the election. So I just go to Twitter and I get like the, 1 minute version. I have to read a bunch. Someone else is going to summarize it, possibly inaccurately, but entertainingly. Yeah.
It's a terrible idea. Please don't do this.
What, Twitter?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. It's just my first, I'm not gonna report out, just to get my own personal sense first from the people I follow. Yeah, other positives of these engagement features. Yeah, you can pick your favorite, something that you engage in yourself. Yeah. Yeah, media platforms help you learn. And we'll talk about one specific example in a bit. Learn. What type of form. Some negatives, obviously. I'm just going to go to a separate slide. Not because I need more, it's because I have it. Okay. Yeah, what are some negatives? Yeah. Addiction, right? You are spending your time, which is finite. Maybe. I mean, I don't know. On things that aren't great. Others? Yeah.
Addiction brings isolation.
You feel isolated?
No, I mean,
Oh.
instead of like having a common
Right. You fulfill your need to socialize with junk food, socialization, basically. Yeah. Yeah, less face-to-face interaction, closely related. I think, these are the reasons that I get anxious about the computers, like, because I think the face-to-face interaction is really good. I mean, you all know that. That's why you're here. In general, like in college, we get to see each other. But yeah, it's like fighting that is tough. Someone else was around here. Yeah. toxic comparison, super huge. And I'm thankful that I am who I am. I've never had to deal with that, but man, yeah. No, there, I'll go to you next. Yeah, go ahead. Opens you up to manipulation. Oh, that's a huge one too. Like what the internet's doing to our brains, it's hard to comprehend, right? It's just like the whole universe going into idea overload that just like whatever crazy thing, like, you know, for example, on YouTube, there was the flat earth thing a while ago. I think that election denialism, sorry if you think the election was stolen in 2020, election denialism, I think, reached a greater apex in part because of mass communication. It was easy to, I mean, obviously there's like political figures involved, but I think those sort of things spread more easily. Or of course, all of the coronavirus period was just insane. Good. Say again? Fear of facing out, is it? FOMO, yes, missing. That's the word I'm missing. Sorry, I was so yeah, FOMO. Yep. Right. You know, targeted harassment, you're saying basically? Yeah, like you don't want to be the main character on Twitter. And a universe in which everyone is maximally engaged makes it easier for you to be part of this grim cyber future. All right, there you go. Okay, one more. If anybody's got one, yeah. Right, disinformation spreads widely. Okay, so basically what we see is that by bringing us all together, there's some good things, there's some bad things, and so I want to talk about your role in all this. Okay. Now, actually, I kind of want to talk about this, like Snapchat and I guess these other features. Let's pick a, I don't know, let's do TikTok. How about that? TikTok has something that tries to engage you. I don't know. What do you think? Net positive? What's your sense? Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. Give me some bullet points. So like general nodding-ish. Yeah. Yeah. Wholesome videos exist. Some. Right. Anybody feel like TikTok is a net negative for the world? Yeah. Okay, what is, give me your,
Well, I don't know if this is necessarily, I think you would have to run numbers on this. I think
right. And you know, TikTok in a way replaced like watching game shows or whatever, like, you know, retirees watching game shows on TV in a way, but it's for you in the
but
prime of,
the game show airs for like an hour and then it's
right.
over.
Right, that's true.
I don't use TikTok. I think I think like all the time. I started YouTube, introduced YouTube shorts and like the existence of YouTube shorts has been a disaster for me specifically. Like it's very I would like to not be able to access.
Right. Do not want access to this torrent, please.
On the other hand, actually, I don't want the corporations to control me. So like, which is happening either way. So I guess this is an unsolved problem.
Gotta go back to that 2007 iPhone. Too slow to do anything. All right. Other thoughts? Someone over here had some other like, I don't like the TikTok. Yeah, go ahead. Yellow. Sure, you.
I was gonna say, I think it's good because people can create information that maybe bigger organizations don't want to talk about, but they talk about.
Can spread information more easily that is counter to existing power structures.
Yeah, the information about the coronavirus that the CDC isn't telling you.
Right, it's complicated. All right, other go ahead. Attention spans are getting shorter. I think that's very true. And I intentionally avoid being on my phone to avoid being diseased in that manner. Some other people, someone I haven't heard from. Yeah, go ahead. Information, bad for privacy. And there, you know, we'll see where that goes politically. Maybe one or two more. Let's see. Yeah, go ahead. Right. And this, I think there's a feeling in the zeitgeist that this is a major problem. And I think it might be. It's hard for me to tell. Yeah. Right. All right, one more. Go ahead. Or actually, go ahead, because I haven't heard from you yet. Right. Lots of jobs for people graduating from Berkeley with CS degrees. Rip Meta. Right. What else died recently? Something else was bad. Oh, Twitter, of course. Yeah. See how that goes. Cool. Okay, let's talk about kind of a contrary thing, just as another platform. So talk about gamifying education. Here's Khan Academy. I'm guessing that almost all of you heard of this, but there are some international students who may have never used it. The basic idea is that if you are a learner and you want to know about something, whatever, spectate. Oh, I got to enter a code. Jeez, making me log in. Okay, sure. This is not my real birthday, obviously. If only I were so young. All right, here I am. All right, Algebra Foundation. So I can go here and I can learn about the beauty of algebra. I'll see a video here. You know, I'm gonna watch it. Hello, Galileo, etc. Anyway, yeah. And so then there's some exercises you can do. Let's see, where do I get to do my exercise? Here, I'm gonna practice. Okay, cool. Let's go. Evaluate 6 plus x when x equals 3. 9. Okay, check. Good, great work, son. Yes, you did. By the way, if you're ever tutoring kids who are like 6 who know addition, it's fun to teach them algebra because they get it like at that age, even though they haven't learned it yet. It's cool. And they might not learn it for a long time. Anyway, okay, so Khan Academy. What are some good things about Khan Academy? What do you like about it? We're gonna do positives and negatives. Go ahead. Personal anecdotes, by the way, are very welcome for this one. Go.
Democratization of information. So people can
Right. Other thoughts? What are some other good things? Maybe ways in which you've used Khan Academy. Yeah. Right. Summarize complex material. Yep. Others? Yeah. Trusted source, which is very important, right? It's a trusted source for info. Probably there's not that many errors. Relatively low. Go. Right. Helps you go beyond what is maybe covered in your real life classes. Supplement or just things you're learning. Notice they use the word learner instead of student, in case you're not a full-time or even part-time student. Other thoughts, things that are positive, yeah. Right. Often we have that problem. Like people are like, I want to learn CS. You'll meet people all throughout your life, like Lyft drivers or whatever, who are like, I want to get on board. How do I do it? And you're like, I don't know. I guess I'm in a class where I have grades and I'm forced to do it. But it gives you some kind of structure, some place to get started. It's just enough structure that you can like do the exercises. One more? Yeah. Say again? Yeah, it's just good for self-learning in general. Okay, cool. All right, let's try and do negatives. This is always a kind of interesting question. What are some negative things about Khan Academy? Yeah. Right. So a teacher isn't fully doing everything they can for the student. Like, and it, maybe they're a bad teacher in that case. I don't know, like less inspiration, less hands-on interaction, whatever it might be. Go ahead. Don't get solid feedback at least. Yeah, feedback is shallow. By the way, 61B, 61 feedback is semi-shallow. We do have the autograder. It does try to give you nuances. We do have some reflection labs a little bit, but what we don't have, what we could have, is something where maybe you sit down with TAs and you do some reflection on your code. And I know a lot of people would benefit. I mean, like I've seen some of your code in office hours where you're getting it right. No judgment, you're new to it. But it's interesting that even people that I think of as like, relatively strong students who do well on assignments and move quickly, that at least to me, been doing this forever, I'm like, ooh, And so in a way, it's like, I would love to have some feature like that. I haven't figured it out yet, but someday. Anyway, other negatives. By the way, I never judge you. Like if you come into me with the world's most basic silly question about a raise tomorrow, I will not judge you. Okay, everybody's learning stuff. So, FYI. Any other negatives? Yeah.
It's mediated over the internet.
Right. Yeah. Which can be a little, not great. Well, or you can use the Meta Quest Pro. I don't know. Anyway. Anybody here used one of the Meta Quest type headset things? Is it cool? It's fine. Anybody else? Yeah, what'd you think? Oh, I heard about that. A joke one that will, there was like, if you die in the game, you die in real life. Anyway. It's an internet thing. Go look it up. Anyway, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna change again this to TikTok over Snapchat because it's cooler. So why would someone want to work at TikTok instead of Khan Academy? I'm not trying to push you to only work at like nonprofits, but just honestly, what are some reasons you might want to do it? Yeah. More money, which is huge, right? Probably much more money. Probably way more money. Not necessarily, but yeah. Right. This is more political capital involved. You work at Amazon for a while, it's going to make it easier to get other jobs. You're going to learn other skills. You're just part of a bigger machine. Other reasons, like career development, maybe is a better bullet point summary. Let's see. I'm trying to find anybody I haven't heard from yet. By the way, online, I'm just doing in person because it's just the flow doesn't work super well. So hi, I hope that your chat messages are being appreciated by yeah, our helper TA. Anyway, yeah, go ahead. People know what you're doing. Cachet, more social cachet, right? It's like people are like, oh, you work at TikTok. Cool. I know what that is. I spend 3 hours a day using it. Yeah. Other reasons. Yeah. Yeah, the software engineering challenges are likely larger because you're dealing with, one of the largest scale systems in the entire world. Like they put, along with YouTube, just absurd amounts of data output, right? And that can be really fun for people that are, like many of you, you're like engineers. Not everybody, but a lot of people are. Other thoughts? I'll take you, but I was making sure. Yeah, go ahead. Stocks, right? This goes with the more money, but yeah, but you get the lottery ticket to being able to buy a boat, or whatever. Yeah, or just having financial independence. Go ahead.
Maybe you only get an offer.
Right, yeah, more jobs there. Good point. Okay, cool. Those are all great answers. Okay, so I want to talk about revenue a little bit, just to say it's kind of interesting that, again, I use Snapchat because I had the revenue from last time it used me to update, but I should note that even with these features that maybe feel a little dicey, like Snapchat, for example, they made $4 billion last year and they had 5,661 employees. But even so, their net profit in 2021 is that they lost $500 million. So it's interesting because we often have this sense that like, the companies like Uber and Lyft and so forth, they're raking it in, but after they pay out their expenses, they're not necessarily profitable. We'll come back to these numbers later. And why is this here? That shouldn't even be there. That's some Candy Crush days. Go away. Anyway, yeah, thank you. Well, so in case you're curious about this kind of thing, I want to give you just a little bit of peek, but this is going to be pretty brief, which is to say that if there's some sense you have that there's danger out there and you want to dig into this more, there's obviously lots of classes at Berkeley that talk about social implications of computing. We have the CS class, but then there's other classes in other departments. But just as like some lightish reading, there is something called the Ledger of Harms. It was put together by some Silicon Valley folks. This is very Silicon Valley spend the way they think about it. So to give you some motivation for why this exists, here's just some quotes from various Silicon Valley folks. So first is an early executive at Facebook, Chamath, who said, I think we've created tools that are ripping apart the social fabric of how society works, which is pretty intense. Sean Parker, the Napster guy, he said, God only knows what Facebook is doing to our children's brains, and replace this with whatever's new. The technologies that we were excited about 10 years ago, I guess it's 14 years ago or so now, are implicated in just about every catastrophe of the day. There was this interesting sea change circa 2016 in the hyper-liberal Bay Area as Donald Trump was running for president and then was elected, where I, as a professor, felt this very strong like pole shift in the way that students here thought about technology. There was a sudden awareness that like, like this could be kind of dicey in some way. It was like a political gut punch for the largely left-leaning population of campus. And I think there's just an awareness of the impact. Because in the 90s, like the vibe was like, we're building this new cool thing and the possibilities are limitless. But in the last, decade or so, the moods kind of turned more negative. And like techno dystopianism, I'd say, is probably actually slightly more predominant, maybe significantly more predominant than techno optimism. Anyway, I like Justin Rosenstein's point here. He created the like button when that existed on Facebook and also started Asana, which is the productivity tool. And he says, these are our lives. These are our precious, finite, mortal little lives. The idea that we're spending them distracted, not accomplishing the thing that we're trying to do is just painful. It's crazy. And then lastly is this very colorful guy, Roger McNamee, who said Facebook appeals to your lizard brain, fear and anger. With smartphones, they've got you every waking moment. Okay. So my thoughts is that I do think personally that these companies do have these significant negative externalities, like pollution into your brains that no one's really paying for. But I think a lot of them are positive. I don't actually even use Facebook anymore, so I should adjust the slide. Well, to post pictures of my kids for my family. There you go. I've mostly just gotten off the internet though. Got too much stuff going on. Anyway, but my sense is that all these bad things, they're not really, I guess, like deliberate harm. Sometimes they are. There's definitely people who will try and rip you off. Maybe some of you are those people that have that. Like, I'm serious. Like some fraction of people, their basic sense is that we're the gazelles, they're the lions. They're going to take us for everything they can. Maybe you're that way. It's always a bummer, but there are a fraction of people who are like that. But I think that if you look at least the people I know in technology, the harms are unintentional for the most part. They're well-intentioned people who are too busy or too blind to be able to fix a lot of these problems. Okay, so I do think that often people at these companies do care, but I have to give one little admonition, which is you'll see this. You may have seen it in your life already, but when there's a hard moral challenge where on one side of the challenge you stand to have a lot of money, and then the other choice in that challenge you don't, you will find all kinds of ways to bend reality so that you take the choice and believe in the choice where you have more money. This happens like with people fighting over wills or lawsuits or whatever else, or deciding anything out there. So be aware of that. And I think it's like a lesson that I learned sometime in my 20s. Okay. So that brings me to the ledger of harms. So there's this Center for Humane Technology. It was founded by a bunch of tech folks who wanted to enumerate and provide references if you wanted to have thoughtful conversations about this. And so they created this ledger of harms a few years ago to basically show what exactly social media is doing, and also other technological, like other mobile technology, what it's doing. Okay. And so it's basically aimed at guiding folks like yourselves who are rank and file engineers who are worried about what they're being asked to build. And so to give you a sense, I'm not going to read all these, but this is the ledger they put together. So they talk about, for example, physical and mental health, the impacts on physical and mental health, and they provide a bunch of citations. In fact, I should just show you the original thing. So ledger of harms. Close. Ledger of harmers. Nope. Ledgehammer. Okay. Ledger of harms. Okay. This is the ledger of harms. And so you can go here and they'll give you citations, the peer-reviewed studies that talk about various items. And so I've compiled some of the slides that I'm not going to read because it would be fairly boring. But just to give you some flavor, like the making sense of the world item in the ledger states, for example, that 45% of tweets about coronavirus, and this is in late 2020, were from bots spreading fake information. So it seems fairly bad that if almost half of the tweets about the virus were like bot driven, okay, it seems dicey. 2 minutes of exposure to a conspiracy theory video reduces people's pro-social attitudes, like willingness to help others, and reduces belief in established scientific facts, according to some paper. You can go read if you want. Okay, attention's pretty fun. Let's see. So the presence of a smartphone, even when off, can reduce your cognitive capacity because you're like kind of thinking about it a little bit. Like
I didn't replicate.
this one?
Yeah,
Oh, okay, thank you. All right, is it still in the ledger of harms?
I
Nope.
didn't read the replication. So
Ah,
maybe, like, something is
even went off.
I
Enough.
read that it didn't replicate.
Interesting. All right.
If it's the one where it's like your phone is on the table,
I'm gonna put 5, 6 stars there. Maybe it didn't replicate. So this is the paper in question. Fair point. If you let them know though, they're pretty responsive. The ledger harms people. So anyway, they really care about this. So this one I'm putting asterisk to say maybe it didn't replicate. All right, mental health, relationships. Maybe this could be also the one right here. The presence of a smartphone can disrupt communication, but I feel like that matches my intuition. Like I'm sure you've been at lunch or at dinner or out with friends and like someone's on their damn phone. You're just trying to have a conversation with them, right? Like anybody have that happen? Right. So, you know, feels kind of bad. Not that people weren't always distracted in the past, but the distraction is much more aggressive than it used to be back in the day. Also, here's a fun fact. When I was in high school and I wanted to know where someone was, I didn't know. It's like if I wanted to go hang out with my friend Will, how do you think I would figure out where he is? Shout his name. No, he lived a couple miles away. That's a good answer, but yeah. He didn't have a pager, but some people did. Could go to his house. That's one way. Yeah, there's one better way. Call his house, right? So I had to call the house and be like, hey, Will's mom, is Will there? And then Will's mom would be the mediator for Will's presence. So it was fun in a way. Certainly getting up to antics as a high school student back in the day were fun because they were lost to time forever instantly. It's like very liberating, actually. I like it. I feel like it's the thing that you guys are missing is the sense that an event can pass truly, because they're so often recorded in some manner, even implicitly by your like Google location tracking. Politics and democracy. YouTube had a famous extremism problem for a while. So there was a study showing that if you just go down the rabbit hole of YouTube, it'll lead you from flat earth videos to, you know, well, maybe that's a little deeper. You start by watching like astronomy and then you get to flat earth and then you get to like, you know, lizard people or whatever. But I have to say that YouTube has gotten much better on this front. And YouTube it's actually somewhat difficult to find the truly abhorrent stuff compared to back in the day when it was like shoveled into your mouth or eyes, I guess. Oppression is interesting. So like TikTok has an algorithm that decides what to show you. But internal documents revealed that basically the classifiers that would try and decide, should I show this to you? If, you know, someone had a lot of wrinkles, the algorithm would downgrade them. Maybe that wasn't explicitly done, but it's like, well, you know, like youthful, vigor, that kind of content gets engagement. So it's going to disengage from, you know, houses with cracks in the wall or like old decorations. Okay. So again, not necessarily explicit, but it came out of the training process. All right. And kids, well, again, like, you know, my kid, as I noted, my kids can use the iPad only on airplanes. So maybe once a week or so, my 2-year-old will go, can we go on an airplane? Because she wants the iPad. So, you know, I've seen this firsthand that they love the devices. I love the devices. In fact, last night, I have a timer on Chrome so that I can not use my phone. But I was in bed and I'd been reading this book called Hawaii. That's pretty good. And I wanted to know about the history of human sacrifice in Polynesia around midnight last night. And I had to change my timer 4 times so I could like keep reading about it. It's like, I should be sleeping. It's midnight. I got to send emails to people. Anyway, maybe I was waiting on an email from me. That's what I was doing at midnight last night. All right. Anyway. All right. I got one more thing to talk about, which is you. So software, right? I mentioned this before. Software is an activity constrained by pure creativity. TikTok exists because people are able to get their act together and build the software systems that can recommend the videos and stream them to you and so forth and entice you to develop the videos. Okay. So I think that's a very unique thing. And as again, I've said, the only real constraint is understanding what you're building. That is the difference between what can be built and what cannot be built. Okay. Now, what that means is that you are a very particular group of people who are Berkeley students or visitors who are engaged in some kind of intense education process. Almost everybody in this room and on Zoom, and maybe the ones watching the recording around the class, are engaged in a multi-year project as I said, to bend your brains to be able to get very, very good at this, right? And the reason, and what you're doing, you're really producing, like the knowledge you're building in this class and beyond is profound because, as I said, the only limit to building systems is being able to understand something, and you're getting much better at understanding things. So that later downstream, you could either take a specific vision, maybe business, governmental, whatever, that's yours or somebody else's, and actualize it. So in other words, you're the limiting reagent in this process. So if I want to build a $300 billion metaverse or whatever, do 10 Apollo projects worth of funding to build this online universe, I need you because I can't do it by myself. You're this ultra rare commodity that among all the people, 8 billion plus in the world, there's only a small number that can do what you can do. And you guys, because of being a limiting reagent in a tool that is profoundly powerful, there's a lot of money, there's a lot of resources here. So if you look at the revenue that companies make per employee, I got this off Wolfram. I think this is last year. So it's a yearly revenue. So Apple, when they hire you, on average, they make $2.5 million per employee. That's an insane amount of money. The vision of Steve Jobs and all that, you're the actuation for that, okay? Now, Apple has bills because they have to pay you and they have to pay for the factories and they have to pay for the buildings and so forth. But net, they end up, after paying all their bills, with an extra $646,000 per employee that they just have no allocated use for. And it just goes into the cash fund that they invest somewhere, stock buybacks, whatever else. Right? So point being that and by the way, the reason you maybe see some big differences is that Amazon is a more capital intensive business. It has a lot of, warehouse employees and so forth. But these companies all make just massive amounts of money per employee. Okay. So the skills that you're getting in this class that I'm trying, that you've gone, you have varying degrees of discomfort and pain and struggle and glory and joy in this class. But that intense process is giving you something that I hope is really profound. And those skills, everyone's going to want that badly. People who can make money off of it, they're going to want you. The crypto companies and the social media companies and everybody, they can make money because they get you to help actualize their vision. So you can work for these companies, nonprofits, government agencies, educational institutions. You can do whatever you want. You got something hot. Okay. Now, I'm not going to say that it's like only ethical to do something purely in service of the world. That's not where I'm going today. But I just want to point out that you have this choice. Now, I did an interesting survey a couple times. It's probably hard to see, so I'll just kind of give you the high-level picture. But I asked students in 2019 and 2021 on the mid-semester survey. I didn't ask you guys because the survey was too long, but I said, if you're given an opportunity to work at this time, I picked Amazon, Facebook, Google, Apple for some reason. I don't know why the specific set of companies, but basically people were, so blue is no, I wouldn't work there. Red is maybe, gold is, yeah, or orange is yes. And so, the rough sense was like, yeah, pretty much people work anywhere, but Google and Apple had better reputations than Amazon or Facebook. And that held more or less both times. Okay. Now, so what I want to know here is like, a lot of you guys are going to work up at technology companies at some point in your life. And I want to reiterate, I don't think there's anything wrong with working at a profit-driven tech company, like not inherently wrong. But the key thing is to realize that even as just a rank and file employee, or as you move up into management, you have the power to affect change, especially as you get deeper and deeper into the company. And also, of course, if you own the stock. Now, because I was having too much fun talking about the apps, I'm actually going to skip over the examples because I want to just kind of get the big picture here. So I guess the one example I'll give you is that, Amazon employees got together at one point and complained. They wrote a letter and said, my God, we're like a massive company that produces an absurd amount of material. Like we build, we have all these boxes, we're shipping so much stuff. Our impact on the world is huge. So they wanted more response to climate change. So there was a shareholder resolution that they said, we want to adapt to and reduce our contribution to climate change. And they basically pointed out, we're not just, a neutral player in this, we're major. And they said, we have the resources and scale to spark the world's imagination and try and actually do something. Like other shareholders, we own part of the company. We want something to happen. Okay. So be aware that's something possible. That's a great question. So I actually, right as I was getting ready before this class, I was going to learn the result of this. I don't know. Let's find out later. Okay. All right. So my closing note is just that, you get some number of decades on the planet. I have no information about what transpires beyond that, but at least the part of the world we can see, we get 168 hours a week. You know, you get, this is the 40 hours of work or so that you'll get. Maybe you're doing more than that now, but anecdotally, when I talk to my TAs, like people say they have more time after college than they do in college. You get some number of hours of sleep, and then you get all this other time you can spend on anything. So I guess my general admonition, I want you to spend your time wisely. Think about your impact, do cool things with your life, and yeah, come to office hours sometime if you want to talk about your choices. All right, that's it. Hope that was fun, and I will see you guys Friday.
Thank you.
More fun in person compared to being on a recording, I hope.